Okay, perfect.
Okay, so here's Mihal and me looking at his game against Killerstaunton, and Mihal mm, promised to show some ideas in the game. So say hi.
Hello, everybody.
Okay,
Hello.
so so nice for Mihal to do this. Let's see.
So, my preparation had led me to believe that my opponent was going to play the Sicilian,
Uh huh.
and uh, uh, I I went ahead and went with that preparation and started with E4.
Yeah. Is that your? Isn't that your normal opening move?
That's my normal. That's my normal opening anyway.
I think
As white.
I think Fisher said it's best by the test.
Yeah, the way I look at it is, you know, several world champions have used it.
Yeah.
So
Gas,
if it's been used by a world champion, I'm not
yeah.
gonna. I will just take it as fact as canon that E4 or D4 are probably the two most solid openings,
Yeah.
and I like E4 a lot, so I use it pretty religiously.
I
Uh,
think this was played also in Anand Carlsen when Anand played E4 and Carlsen played C6 in one game at least. I think so.
so I did E4, and of course he did
Something totally
C5.
unexpected. No, C5.
No, he did C5 just like I was expected,
Okay.
and um, recently, uh, within the last year, after having started playing Team League and working with both yourself, Lori, and Han, um, I began to explore uh, different stable openings, and I had never really been a big um, uh, advocate of C3, but recently I have really become
Yeah.
to like it, and so I played C3
Yeah.
with the purpose of uh, trying to gain a strong pawn center
Sure.
and um, maintaining maintaining the initiative and letting things develop. So I went ahead and played C3.
So we can put up exclam there. C3. It's a really good opening choice. I think it's seen quite often in Team League, but hey, it's really good move, so why not play it?
Yeah, and um, my full expectation was his response was going to
Hmm.
be knight f6.
Yeah, that's my also mine opening.
Um, and he surprised me. He caught me off guard.
Okay,
And he finchettoed.
okay.
Uh, it wasn't totally off guard because I'm
Mm,
used to seeing finchettos, but it was a little bit um, unnerving. So I had to do a lot of
mm,
thinking at this point, uh, what I wanted to do,
yeah.
and um, my two candidate moves were knight f3 and pawn d4. Uh,
Mm,
in the analysis after the game, uh, it appears that pawn d4 is a little stronger,
mm.
but I went ahead with knight f3.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's quite flexible, so we
yeah,
might.
it was stable. I liked that the knight that controlled the d4 and the e5 squares, which were going to be black really wanted some of those squares on that diagonal. So I liked that move. I
Yep.
didn't think that it was overly committal.
It
Um,
yeah, I mean it might sound a little bit simplifying, but we're one move closer to the castling to the king side. So it's it sounds a little bit maybe a little bit childish to mention it, but it actually is one central idea in the opening to get king out of the center.
yep, absolutely, absolutely, and so I thought that it was perfectly fine. The knight could not be attacked, so therefore it was a relatively safe move,
Yep.
and I wanted to proceed into a little bit deeper into the game, so I went ahead with the move that I thought was safe, sound, and wanted to see what his response was.
Yep.
And I had prepared for the Finchetto, and of course he didn't let me down. He Finchettoed.
Yep.
Uh, and there's an old saying that I'm not sure which grandmaster said it, but the his saying was is don't start something that you don't plan to finish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meaning
That's
that
a typical beginner mistake to play a little bit there, a little bit there, and that's bound to hit you back. So so
yeah, so he fully completed with his Finchetto,
yep.
and and now this position I had to do some serious thinking because I was just as I fully expected the Finchetto, but I was not really sure what he was going to do next, and
Mm.
so
Basically,
I
he's enforcing e5 here in some regards, so he can move e5 in next move if you're not doing anything. So, mm,
yeah, and so that this at this point I think I spent a number of minutes thinking about it.
yeah.
This might have been the first spot that I really spent uh, 5 or 6 minutes thinking about the position,
Mm,
uh, what was being said to each other,
mm,
what was I looking at, and I decided that okay, let's continue on with um, the game plan that I had discussed with Han earlier, and that's pawn to d3.
uh-huh.
And in analysis later, it appears that pawn to d4 is still
Mm.
still very strong.
We're still fighting
And
for the e5, so there is
yeah,
a big
so
fundamental. But I wanted to just say about your using time here that I call it Svidler time because I think it's very custom for Svidler in the opening phase of the game spend some minutes where many people don't, like asking the questions of the position, talking to position, kind of giving it ideas and seeing what it says to you when you ask it questions in your mind. Probably they are not verbal. There might be some kind of images that flashes through your mind and try to work them out or something. And what this does is you kind of someone is saying, okay, this is not right time to use time, but I disagree because once you have worked these fundamental questions of the position, or given yourself time to get accustomed to the features of the position. When something happens, when your opponent actually does something, you might have actually some idea or some impression of the move, or something that you thought just one move before. That oh, now this feature actually comes to life. So I think it's very useful. Okay, you have to be practical also, but maybe within the time frame we have talked about. So we have in 44
Yeah,
in
and
4.
I felt like I had a lot of time, and
Yeah,
so that's one of the things that you and Han have really pressed me on is that I need to spend more time considering positions, looking at variations, and using my time wisely.
yeah,
And so I really tried to slow my tempo down, and I think the result of this game it really shows that when I take my time, uh, good things happen.
yeah. Um, the intuition is such a I'm a big fan and admirer of human intuition. It is like magic to me. I really feel it's great that we have such a feature in our system, the intuition, that it will serve us better. I think by experience. So when we have played these games using a lot of time, the intuition will serve us all the time better and better. So later, after many seasons of 45, you learn to look at the clock and you learn to listen to yourself better and better. So it will improve over the time. What is the correct time in each part of the game? But as a beginners, it's good that we teach ourselves to that listening process because we might miss something very basic. At our level, it's basically some tactic. It's almost in every game some tactic we're missing. So okay, that was
And oh, absolutely. And in analysis after this game or of the game afterwards, I found many different little variations and
hmm,
subtle nuances that would change the tactics considerably
okay. So let's
in the
go.
game. So
Yeah.
so it's so at this point, I considered this. This is where I started thinking. I considered c4 bishop to c4 very heavily
Hmm.
uh,
It's,
because I like the idea of getting my white bishop out
yeah.
before I pushed c3 or
Yes.
or d3 or d4.
Yeah.
Uh, but I went against that, and I went ahead and locked it in
Uh-huh.
and said, "All right, let's just see what happens here. Let's just see what happens."
Ha-
And
Han.
I
Sorry, Michal. This is actually King's Indian attack formation. G3, bishop G2, and this is actually King's Indian attack as so basically King's Indian defense as white. So, but when we play King's Indian defense as white, we call it King's Indian attack. So this
this
is
so
all
this
theory, I think.
so now for the KIA, I thought there was a G3
Yes,
G3 with a finchetto and
yes,
then so that's the remaining portion of that setup for a King's Indian
yep,
attack.
yep.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. I did not know that. I did not know that.
We might look at the move orders and so forth, but yeah, that's basically it.
Gotcha. So at this point, pushing D3, uh, I said let's play a slow game,
Mm,
quiet game. Let's see.
re- reminds me of the discussion we had about enjoying positions, but maybe that's not
Yeah.
for the we might have a young audience, so I won't repeat it all. So.
Well, interestingly enough, also my discussion with Han, um, gave me some insight and revelations about the Sicilian, and I never
Hmm.
thought about it prior to this, but one of the ways that you can diffuse the dynamics of the Sicilian is to play a slow, quiet game.
Mm. Oh, yeah, because Sicilian fundamentally uh, white. If you play the open game, white
Yeah, it's
white
it's
white white needs to use the initiative, and that's the with every move you have to fight for the initiative. But when you play it slow like this, you can play it positionally, and you don't have to fight the initiative at every move. It's enough to make positionally sound moves. So
yeah, that's kind of what I began to formulate for a game plan,
yeah.
and said, well, let's just let this keep playing out. So after I pushed D3, um, I really I thought, well, at some point he's got to go knight F6,
Mhm.
or he's got to go knight C3. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he even goes uh, maybe even goes uh, E6 with the knight to E7.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I wanted to let him do whatever he was going to do, and I was just going to continue to play nice and slow,
Yeah.
and work on building up my position. One thing that Han really urged me to do was to develop all my pieces
Mm.
first.
Super.
He really stressed that. Say,
Super.
please, please, please develop all your
Yeah.
pieces first, and don't move any of the pawns in front of your king shield. Just
Super.
please try that for me. And I said,
Extremely
okay,
well.
I'll do the best. I'll
Yeah.
do the best I can. Said
Excellent.
she, and hopefully this game is a testament to his hard work.
Psychologically,
And mine.
psychologically, I feel it's about who is blinking first. You and your opponent, you are facing each other. You look at each other. Who is blinking first? Like who is making the first impatient move? Like when nothing is happening, you kind of feel, well, something should be happening here, and it's kind of you feel obliged to achieve something that is not in the position, while you could at the time look at the position and ask how can I improve my position. And my uh, idea about the positional chess play is that the tactics will come if you just ask what is to improve, what can I do to improve the position. The tactics will come because suddenly when you have good position, the tactics will be there. They come like fruits from the tree, like, and if you miss one tactic, that's fine. The next, it is very devastating actually to be worse positionally, and you see the great move for your opponent, but no, he doesn't do it. He just improves the position, and there is that other problem. So that's my take on tactical and positional play on chess.
Well, hopefully, I'm able to demonstrate that in this game for you.
Yeah, yeah,
I think I've got a good shot at it.
yeah.
So, so at this point, like I said, I really didn't know what he was going to move. My feeling was that he was now that I've I've basically um, I've got a backup to my e4 pawn. Uh, the knight to f6 is just
Mm,
doesn't make any sense. So
mm,
my thought was is he's probably going to go knight c3
mhm.
or knight c6.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, yeah.
knight c6. And let's see what he does. Knight c6.
Yeah.
So
There's
uh,
there's also a shot of e5 in the position where he would could argue that he has kind of Marochi bind kind of thing going for him because uh, you haven't make your move at e5, but this is forcing e5 also. So
Yeah, yeah. He's preparing e5 if that's what he really wants to do. He may just do e6
mm,
instead.
yeah,
But it's still very uncommittal,
yeah,
still flexible for black.
and he
Uh,
hasn't done anything especially wrong here. I think
yeah,
it's a solid game.
and so for me, I'm looking at my position. I'm like, well, I want to keep developing. I need to keep developing, and my feeling is I want to get that bishop out of the way as fast as possible.
Hmm.
Uh, and
And
I'm pretty sure,
structurally, it makes sense. Makes
yeah.
sense.
And there's really nowhere else the bishop can go.
Yeah,
So, uh,
and you're not weakening the light squares unnecessarily.
yeah,
You
see,
might
so
you might like your bishop on a long diagonal, but this is a question because you still you already weakened the e2 square. So do you want to weaken also g2? So that's the question.
I'm pretty sure here my response was is to push bishop e2
Yep.
and, uh, and then see what his response was
Yeah.
and vote.
Maybe bishop g2 is a little bit more ambitious, but this is really good because now you're handling your king safety, and this leads to good middle games.
Yeah, and at this point, things are still relatively quiet. Nothing's gotten too crazy.
Hmm.
Um, each side is really uh, building their defense, and neither one's really being attacked. So neither one of us are really, uh, you know, positionally, things aren't positionally breaking down. There's no open files.
Mm.
Both games are still in the center, but
Mm.
I'm looking at getting out of there pretty quick.
Yep. Yep.
I think at this point, looking at this position, if I am correct, Black does uh, pushes e6,
Hmm.
um, and then I castle. Let's see what goes on.
Okay.
Yep, he goes e6.
Yeah. So he doesn't want to block his beautiful dark square bishop.
Yeah, he wants that long diagonal. He really wants that long diagonal. Even though I've got a pawn chain blocking it off.
Mm.
I say fine. You can have that long diagonal. It's not really doing you any good. I go ahead and castle.
Yeah. And
And,
he also
and
enforced d5 there with e6.
and here I think is when I started once again thinking more about the moves. I was like, okay, everything to this point has been very logical.
Hmm.
Uh, Everything has been pretty easy to discern in terms of um, when you make one move, the next logical move behind it,
Mm.
and so I think so far at this point I felt pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Uh,
I wanted
with
to mention two ideas. These are a little bit more positional than actual moves, but one basic idea in such a structure for black is to exchange his dark square bishop. So if he goes knight f6 or knight bd7, somehow not giving a little bit the h6 square, you might try go, for instance, bishop e3 and queen c1 and exchange this dark square bishop. That's one idea. And other idea after bishop e3 might be to try push d4. because he somehow, after not playing e5, gave a little bit more strength to our bishop e3.
To the pawn center, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is actually something that was discussed in one of the post game analysis
Mm-hmm.
that I worked on. Is that at this point bishop e3 looks like it's actually the preferred move.
Uh-huh.
I didn't go with it. I
Uh,
went.
Mihal,
I
Mihal,
went.
Mihal, 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 Mihal. This is now the cliffhanger. This was the first part of the video analysis alarm killerstaunton, and we'll return on next episode. So thanks for viewing.